my Area 51 line. You're on the air. Hello.
Welcome to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast, where what you've known as reality will be shattered by the truth. Krista and Brandy will lift the veil from your eyes, revealing what has either been hidden or denied you for eons.
Hey, happy
For eons,
Friday.
I tell you, eons.
Eons.
That's an abrupt cutoff. It's like I wasn't even ready. I was like, hello?
I fought that thing trying to trim it down and make it fit. Oh my gosh.
The pain in the butt has it?
Oh, it was giving me fits, I'm telling
you. Well, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome. It's our Friday show. So we're going to talk some ghosts tonight, and Randy and Tex has made their presence with us tonight because we're going to talk about Civil War ghosts tonight. So I think that'll be kind of cool. Anyway, I want to say hi to Gary Spikes, Mickey, hello, Paranormal Paul, hello, long time no talk, because literally just talked to him. Brandy, Werewolf, hello. Mickey, hello. Mr. G, hello. Ristel.
Oh, Ristel.
Good old Ristel. How are you? BK up here. Hello. Amy Creel. Good to see you.
Hey, Kimber.
Hello. Hope I didn't forget anybody.
That's for Paul, because I ain't putting no OSU hat on.
That's too funny.
I still think it looks like that your top of your hat's not appropriate. It's being blurred. It's being censored.
Look. I'm going to go full unicorn now, okay?
There you go, Randy. I was telling Tex and Randy backstage before Brandy hopped on. So about an hour ago, I got new glasses, and I went and picked them up. And they're prescription glasses. However, I'm not wearing them because it jacks me all up. I couldn't read the chat. I had my computer pushed all the way back. It's just not right. So I'm gonna have to break my way into these new glasses.
She'd be like, "What is that? I can't read it."
Well, it was funny because Ray was laughing at me. He's like, because I was moving my head up to read, like try to read my phone and stuff. He's like, you move your eyes, not your head. So anyway, it's going to take me a little bit to get used to them. So I'm not wearing them right now.
It's just like roping, Krista. You move the rope around your head, not your head around the rope.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
I got these a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
These were done as computer glasses is what they call them. They set the focal point at about 15 inches. So they're perfect for computer monitors, but not quote unquote reading glasses per se. So when I'm at work and when I'm here, I can use these versus these, which are the bifocals, which that hurts the brain.
Yeah, it does. And it was just like jacking me all up. So I'm like, man, I cannot do a show an hour after I get new glasses and try to read chat. So
gotta get used to them.
Yep, old glasses. I had to run out to the car and grab them because I had left them in there. But anyway, it's Friday and I'm glad for that.
Sure, sounds good.
Sure. Okay. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. Happy Friday. So we have a conference coming up, and it will be September 19th and 20th. And we have the list we can talk about briefly.
Holy shit, Paul.
What did he say? What did Paul say?
I used to have one contact
for close and one contact for far.
That's too funny.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let that one slip.
Ding, ding, ding. You just got dinged.
Yep. All right, our conference is September 19th and 20th. We have as speakers, we have Josh Hurd, Heather Mosier, Will Lunsford, Lady Ann Celine, Ron Murphy, Dr. Dean Bertram, Greg Ogles, Frankie Campbellata, Dan Klein, Sir Brian Bowden, and Miguel Ramirez from Sasquatch Theory. So that will be our speakers. Our special guest is Ken Gerhard, Dana Stricker, Brent Thomas, Ryan Edwards, Mike Familiant, Christopher Garitano, Linda Eastburn, and David Glidden. So anyway, that's our lineup, and it's quite a good lineup if you ask me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And of course, it's hosted by the Island of Misfit Toys.
All of us. And some. All of us and some.
Yes, all of us and some. Yes.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be a fun time. And yeah. And Amy says she got her ticket. So be good to see you, Amy.
Right. So if you need to get tickets, you can go to the Crossing Realms conference on Eventbrite, or you can go under Blondes and Booze, and it should be under our name also. So you can get them both in either or, pick and choose, whatever you want, whatever's easier for you.
That's it. So anyway, speaking of the conference, so it is actually in Richmond, Missouri. And some of what we're going to talk about tonight, Randy and I were kind of talking backstage, is because, the show is titled Ghost Haunted Locations and Battlefields of the Civil War. So yes, we all know about Gettysburg, and we'll kind of touch on Gettysburg too. But right there in Richmond, Missouri, we have a lot of Civil War history that later in the show that we'll talk about. So people who are coming to the conference can actually see some of that if you guys are into history. So be really cool. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one because I've never, can't say I've never been on the battlefield, but I've never investigated the battlefield, and but I've had stuff happen to me on the battlefield, but I wasn't investigating the battlefield. I didn't really put two and two together.
I told Randy, if you guys can come a day early, like the battlefield, the Battle of Centralia, Massacre of Centralia, it's about an hour and a half away.
And that's a battlefield. That whole area in Centralia, like we talked about the train station and everything, it's so rich with history, and they kept as much as they could for their tours and such. I'm like, it's got a lot of history there and a lot of, I want to say guidance because people just don't just throw it out there. They guide you through it. They show you exactly what happened in that entire battle.
That house that I talk about, seeing the cowboy and patting the ghost on the head and all that kind of stuff. That house, that was, I don't know why I never considered it a battleground. I mean, it was a massacre ground. You call it a battleground, So yeah,
a lot of cool stuff. So anyway, Mickey says, what does she say? She says, Blondes and Booze and Brandy, where's the best place for breakfast? Some of us are wanting to meet up Sunday before we part ways to have a meal. So there's a diner in town. Oh God, the lady, she's on the board there at the museum, and I know her, and she owns a diner. I'll get it to you. It's numbers or something.
Is it 13 or 13?
Yeah, 1013, I think it is, or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a diner. Brandy's been there before. Actually, I think Paul might have even went there too with us. But yeah, so
I've been there several times. So yeah, it's a good place.
Yep, and it's a mom and pop type business. It's not
that's the best ones.
Yep. So anyway, it's going to be fun. Hey, Al.
Hey, Al. What's going on, Al?
Yeah.
Al, hey.
Good to see Al in chat. Haven't seen him in a while.
Dadgum, long time no see. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, let's talk about some battlefields and some ghosts and some creepy, gory stuff.
Gory? Why's it got to be gory?
Well,
it could be glorious.
The battlefields are pretty gory.
But it could be glorious.
By whose book?
Well, it's a battlefield. You got to have battlefield glory. So there's somebody who's got glory while other people are gory. How's that? Glory and gory.
There you go. There you go.
Randy.
What? I'm just looking at both sides of the coin. That's all.
Both sides of the coin, right? I hear you. Yeah, there's just there's so many different aspects to the Civil War and ghosts. Like, for instance, like Abraham Lincoln, he still haunts the White House.
Oh yeah, everybody believes it too.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
He's the only one. I don't think he's the only one either.
No, and one of the presidents, I don't remember who it was, they went into they came across Lincoln's ghost. And I almost want to say it was Clinton. I could be wrong on that, but I read about that not too long ago. Yeah. I came across Lincoln's ghost. Could you imagine waking up and Lincoln sitting over you?
That would be my bucket list of bucket list investigations would be the White House.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
It'd be cool. Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
Yep. Here it is. It says, the wife of Calvin Coolidge, she was the first to claim of seeing Lincoln's ghost. And then also Margaret Truman's wife. Yep, she also heard. Gerald Ford's daughter, Susan Ford, she would never sleep in the Lincoln bedroom. And Maureen Reagan, who is Reagan's daughter, she's seen Lincoln's ghost in the Lincoln bedroom as well as during the administration when her father was there, Ronald Reagan. So, yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah. But I'm with Randy. I would love to go to the White House and do that, but we know that'll never happen.
That will never happen.
If somebody would open up certain parts, because people say you can go in there and tour and, certain special guests can go stay in the quote unquote Lincoln bedroom and so forth, so on, that kind of deal. You would think sooner or later, and, maybe with this guy coming in needing money or something, maybe he'll start getting out tours and stuff, to where you could actually do an investigation at certain parts of it, that aren't secure, obviously.
Right.
Why would that'd be a no-brainer if I was the Park Service of some sort, because that's who would fall under. Interior and Park Service would be the ones running that tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So that would be cool. That would be pretty awesome to see, I think. I would love to see Lincoln's ghost. You can't meet him when he's alive, meet him while he's dead and say, hey, I met Lincoln.
Oh, and Rissell says Churchill saw his ghost while he was there, it looks like.
There you go. So he's made himself known, it sounds like,
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So anyway, so there's just so much history to the Civil War. So when we think, Civil War, everybody thinks Gettysburg, but it's not just Gettysburg.
No.
So real quick, kind of off topic, Daddy's 1013 Diner.
That's it. I was close.
And you also have Stella's.
Nope, go to Daddy's.
Okay. And
we don't like Stella.
Also have Branded Steakhouse, Oink and Moo Barbecue.
So Branded is the place we're going to go to. We're already going to that one.
It's got 4.5 stars.
They're really good. Branded is really
Daddy's.
Good.
It's got 4.5 stars.
Daddy's is very good. Yeah. Yep. So those are the two places that we'll all be going to.
Cool.
Yeah. So the American Civil War, how many battles do you think were part of it without Googling?
Without Googling, you're talking about hundreds. Honestly, you're talking about everything from Centralia level, like we were talking about, all the way up to Gettysburg. You're talking hundreds.
So with everything, total engagements, which be like the little skirmishes, there's over 10,000.
That would not surprise me in the least. But you don't think about the skirmishes as being a real battlefield either, though. Right.
Well, the major battles, there's right at 50, and significant battles, there's 100. So
I would think significant battles would be
like Gettysburg.
That's the one where everybody goes to for the to go see whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Now, out of those,
my goodness, Mopar Bill has showed up.
Hey, long time no see. Been a while.
I know.
Too. Yeah, welcome back.
So out of that 100 or so, though, how many of them have reputations of haunted or ghost activity and such?
Quite a few. I mean, there's a lot of battlefields that are have tainted ground.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I got some information all brought up here. Where is it?
Little Patty says Lexington, Missouri battlefield is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sure is. And that was another one that I had down to talk about. And that was the Battle of the Hemp Bales.
Yep.
And that is only like 8 miles from the museum.
Is that that close? I never even thought about that. That being that close.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question for you back on Centralia real quick, though. When you were out on Centralia, did you ever get that heavy feeling on the actual battlefield itself?
Heck yeah. So let me tell you about that battle. So I've been there a couple times, and the one time I did the reenactment, I've been there for a reenactment, and then I've been there for ghost hunting. So with the reenacting part of it, everybody, it's all period correct. So yeah. I feel like, battlefields, it triggers things. Everybody's dressed in the right clothing. You've got you got the wall tents, you got the A-frame tents, you got them all out there. You got the horses, you got cannons, you got everything going on out there as it was back in the day. And, we sat there on that battlefield, and we heard horses running at night in the middle of the night. Nobody was running their horses at night.
That's why I was asking that, because when we did our thing, like I was talking about my advanced non-commissioned officers course, we did a presentation. We go all the way up to Centralia, and each part of that battle, we all had parts we had to do. And I had, like I said, Bill Anderson. But while we were on the actual battlefield itself, I distinctly heard hooves. Now, there's no horses anywhere around. Don't get me wrong. But I distinctly heard hooves, and I asked my buddy that was with me at the time. This was 2008, mind you, so it's a while back. And he's like, I thought I heard it too, and then we kind of went back and forth, but we didn't hear it anymore. So that property is actually, you have to go through like private property to get there to the battlefield. Yeah.
And so you're able to do that. And that battlefield that weekend, this was weird. And, everybody knows I do not believe in coincidence or anything like that. So while the battle was going on, the guys are out there. We got cannon fire going. We got horseback. We got foot soldiers. We got all kinds of things going on. And then they even got, just everything's going on. A lot of noise, a lot of ruckus, a lot going on. And for those that don't know, when reenactments are done, it's literally a reenactment of that battle. So whoever won that battle or that fight, that's who ends up winning the reenactment.
Yeah, so, you don't want to change it.
No. But it was so weird because dragonflies, while that was going on, like the whole battlefield was full of dragonflies.
Yeah.
That was weird. I mean, like, I can't even tell you. And then as soon as the battle was over, they were gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And we did that battle for 2 days. We were there and did it 2 different times. And same time, there was no dragonflies around until all the happenings started happening. So I wonder if like the noise or something, I don't know, or if it was on a spiritual level. I don't know.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And like I said, we laid there and we listened to horses running, and there wasn't any horses running at night in the middle of the night. So that was really cool. And I went back there after that because, I'm into the ghost, and everybody knew it back then too. And I dragged a few people with me, and the people that live around the battlefield invited us to their property to hunt their property because they had weird things going on. So we did. And the homeowners had found like cannonballs and different things like that out in the field. And so we actually got EVPs of cannon fire.
Wow.
Which is really cool.
Holy crud. Really?
Yeah.
So was it EVPs or did y'all actually hear it too? Was it disembodied like
it was just
sound?
EVPs. It was EVPs.
Straight out EVP, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep, because we didn't hear it with our ears. just going back and listening, we had the cannon fire. So that was just really, really cool. And batteries were getting drained out there, and it was awesome. And honestly, I'm ready to go back. That is a great, great battlefield. If a battlefield can be great, which, it's tainted land, but as far as the ghost activity is pretty incredible.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all of them. I think.
One of the guys that I was with, he was knocked down on the battlefield while we were ghost hunting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was a lot of crazy stuff. So little Patty's talking about Lexington. In Lexington, there's the Anderson House. And on our Blinds and Booze page, actually, I think on the paid members, I have some video up of us visiting the Anderson House. It was Greg Ogles and Kathy, the curator of the museum. We were just kind of wasting time. We took Greg to see it all. But that was Battle of the Hemp Bales. And as Patty, I've seen, she said it in chat, there is a cannonball in the courthouse. And Brandy, I know you've seen it. And the cannonball in the courthouse. And so there's a lot of history going on in that area.
Yeah.
From the Civil War. Yeah. And Randy, you and I were talking backstage about Bloody Bill Anderson. He was a big, significant back in that area. And actually one of the museums at the room has a room that is dedicated to Quantrell's Raiders, who, was part of Bloody Bill Anderson. And there is a life-size cutout of Bloody Bill Anderson in that room. And Brandy, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool. And Bloody Bill Anderson is buried right by the museum.
That's the thing. When you told me that, I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
I would be going to pay homage, first of all, because quite frankly, as a small unit warfare, guerrilla type warfare leader, shall we say? I won't say he was a colonel. Even though he was a quote unquote militia colonel. He really wasn't a military guy. He was just he was a teed off civilian who had his family attacked by the Union, and he wanted retribution. That's all he really amounted to.
Yeah,
that's majority.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. So this is kind of an interesting thing too. So this was in Richmond. No, I think it was in Lexington, Missouri, which is only 8 miles away from Richmond. We did the Archie Clemens reenactment, which he was part of the whole Quantrell thing and the whole 9 yards. So, and it was actually Cole Younger who reburied Anderson's body in the old Pioneer Cemetery in Richmond. So he was actually moved there. So it's just pretty interesting history, So, for those of you that are coming to our conference, it's worth going. If you can come a day early or stay a day later and touring some of these places. It's really cool. It's American history. It's not just Missouri history. It's American history,
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, so out of all these major battlefields, shall we say, how many have actual quote unquote pictures or videos or something or EVPs of something happening there?
That I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We only have the cannon fire ourselves.
Yeah, and we already know. I mean, obviously, we all know Gettysburg's got a ton of it because that's the biggest one that people have gone to, obviously. So, are there any others out there? I mean, I've heard legend of some at Manassas. I've heard some of, there was one, I think it was in Georgia, but I think it was where Sherman was doing the march to Atlanta. And I heard something about wasn't an official quote unquote battlefield, but there was actually a spot in Georgia. I want to say it's around Eagle Mount, right there at the Tennessee-Georgia border, where when it came through, there's residual that people catch sometimes there.
Oh wow!
I don't know about that for sure because it's just been rumor. I've never been able to qualify it or anything like that. So
Oh, wow. So you have some interesting things, though, don't you?
Oh yeah, I got a few here,
Mm-hmm.
but these are mostly all, like I said, they're all pretty much Gettysburg. So
Yeah. And there's also another area that's more towards Brandy's area, I believe, was the Battle of Pilot Knob.
yeah,
And
knobs up there.
also a haunted location. Brandy, we're gonna have to go there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Sometime, I mean, it's so hard because the historic value is so high on these places that you can't get into them like we would want to, like at nighttime, or they just have them open for like museum quality items and things like that. They don't have them open for ghost hunts. It's so hard, so
Yeah.
hard for us to get in there.
Oh yeah,
Right.
What about? I was looking up places in over by Richmond. What about? And I'm sorry, I was on a phone call. Y'all might have already said this. But what about the Elms Hotel?
So the Elms has a little bit of history. So when Truman found out he won the presidency, he was at the Elms.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Winnie
it
B-
also says it
Win-
was
Dewey
a training
Dewey.
camp.
Very haunted. It is very haunted.
It was a training camp for Jack Dempsey
Mhm.
and summer camp for the 1948 New York Giants.
So, and then right across from there is just a little hop, skip, and a jump. Across from the Elms is the Hall of Waters in Excelsior Springs, and we've ghost hunted that many times.
Yeah.
And the Hall of Waters, people used to go there for healing properties of
Right.
the water, and including Truman was one of them. So he was
And I don't
there
know
and
if
then
you
went
mentioned
and
this.
stayed at the Elms.
And I don't know if you mentioned this or not, and I'm sorry if you did.
No, you're good.
The Jesse James Farm.
Mhm. So that's only about 30 minutes away from the museum.
Yeah.
It's in Kearney, Missouri. Yep, and it's just a little bitty place. And now that place is really haunted too. Let me tell you. So, Kathy, who runs the Ray County Museum, is friends and talks to that lady that runs the Jesse James Museum, and she's talked to her about happenings that happened there. They're not really open for ghost hunting because, believe me, we've tried.
Sure.
But yeah, because they would rather, just you don't talk about it, it goes away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. In
there's-
today's society, you talk about it, well, it brings people in, and then you make some money.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm just
But
saying.
then,
I mean,
that
I'm
probably
hoping.
isn't
I'm
right.
hoping that these places are going to get on this, get on this gravy train, because they really don't have to do anything. They go in and they just sit there
Mhm. Yeah.
and make money for their location. And Chris and I talk about it all the time about historic preservation.
right.
Mhm.
That money's got to come from somewhere, because we know that some of these smaller towns, things like that, they just don't have the revenue to support, the care that these buildings and places need. And
Yeah.
I just wish they would get on the bandwagon. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a haunted bed and breakfast only 32 miles from Richmond called the Pink Rosebud Bed and Breakfast.
Mhm. What town is that in?
It's in Plattsburgh.
Okay. It doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of history out there of Civil War. You've heard Brandy and I talk about the ranch that we go to, and
Right.
that's there in Lexington, or that we used to go to, and that's there in Lexington. And part of the Battle of the Hemp Bales was fought there on that ground. So, therefore, a lot of the ghosts and stuff there.
The Pitcher Cemetery in Independence sounds really cool.
Mhm.
Began in the 1830s as a family plot for Thomas Pitcher family. It also is a burial spot for Revolutionary War soldiers,
Mhm.
as well as some mass graves. One for Civil War soldiers, another one for a group of pioneers who died of cholera.
Right.
Ooh, yeah, orbs, strange noises. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be
So
cool.
there's a lot of places to go. Hey, Heather, good to see you.
Hi, Heather.
Is that Mosier?
There,
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Not a few.
Hi.
There's
Really
a lot
high.
of cool places, though. I'm telling you, like if you guys can come, a day or two earlier to the conference, just it's just part of our American history. It's just yeah.
Yeah,
many
exactly.
places. It amazes me when I started looking. There's so many places within a 30-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, you could if you could make a day trip and hit several places.
Absolutely, absolutely, you can.
Awesome.
That's what we keep telling everybody. Hey,
Ghost Central is what y'all do.
yeah, it's kind of like, hey, if you're coming to the conference, take a couple extra days. You'll be surprised on what you're going to find out there.
Oh yeah,
It's
whole area. Yeah,
And even if
simply amazing.
like, ghost isn't your thing, just the history alone, and that's what I'm all about. So anywhere I go,
Civil War buffs would have a blast there, just as well as ghost hunters would. Absolutely.
Well, and not to mention you're in Momo country.
Yep.
Yeah, Sasquatcher. Just
Dog
come on
man.
in. Come on.
Yeah.
Just bring them all
I'm
in.
gonna leave
Of course,
Momo.
there's been dogman sightings out there. So, I mean, there is that too.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to leave on Momo and the Dogman alone for that trip and hone up on my ghost hunting skills.
yeah, he's going to need a lot of help with that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've got the three best there is. So, hey.
There you go.
You remember what you told me the first time I went up to Brown Springs with you? I was bait. Guess what? You're bait.
I like being bait.
So, whenever I do go to battlefields and I do ghost hunt, I do have period correct clothing because I was a reenactor. So I do turn into bait in a lot of these places. So Heather says, she says, already planning on stopping by Louisiana, Missouri to look for Momo on the way to the conference. You will only be about an hour away from my house, girl. It's just about an hour north of me. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep. And she's talking about Louisiana, Missouri. That's right there on the river. And it's a real cute little town and where they had the big Momo deal back in the 70s. So, yeah, not too far.
This place is ripe with all kinds of activity. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, honestly, like Missouri, or Randy said that Missouri is really underestimated in a lot of in a lot of things. It really is.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so is. So
there is a lot of rural property and national forest and all this kind of that has just not been explored. It's just and I mean, everybody, when they think of Missouri, they think of like St. Louis. They just think of St. Louis. They think of a big city. Well, we only have a few big cities in Missouri, just a few. And the rest is all pretty much rural. So,
yeah.
So I want to hear about this cannon fire that y'all got. I mean, I've heard supposedly EVPs about that stuff before, but I mean, that for some reason, like cannon fire, rifle fire, and all that kind of stuff, that kind of stuff fascinates me because you're not talking about, somebody that was living or whatever. That's an inanimate, physical, mechanical thing. What do you think makes that manifest?
I honestly think that's just residual. Is in my opinion, as far as the cannon fire, I think that's what that is. And same as when with what I heard the horses running in the middle of the night, I believe that's residual as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think of all the events happening that day and how all the emotions were running and, blood, sweat, and tears, literally.
Yeah.
That day, or any other day that it happened. I mean, it's just all of that went into the ground. And, that put a lot of energy back in there. And it's like Krista said, it's just residual. It just keeps
replaying
giving
over and over and over again.
Yeah. Just on repeat.
Well, yeah. I've got one queued up right there. If you want to hear one of them,
Let's do it.
it's from Gettysburg, but it's one of those that we heard it. Obviously, me and Brandy have heard this, and we've gone through this before.
Yes.
So this one was just, I believe this one was just the sounds. It wasn't necessarily the actual.
Okay.
Now, as you're hearing that, you heard how it kind of got closer and closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it went away, and then it got closer again.
Yeah.
You talking about
That's
the
pretty
drums?
cool.
Yeah, the drum beats.
Yeah.
The drumming. Yeah. That's really cool.
It was a march.
Yeah, it was a battle march, is exactly what it was. But there was no reenactments going on at that time when this was captured.
Wow.
There was no practicing. There was no nothing. Because we thought when we first listened to it, maybe somebody's practicing.
Right.
But it was like oddball for practice. You know what I mean? Remember that, Randy? Because we really didn't know what could, if you're practicing, it wouldn't have been intermittent like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Wow. That's really cool.
I mean, the first time we heard that, it was we listened to it several times because we just found it absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That it was so crisp and clear that it did sound like somebody was standing over there, using a snare drum is what it sounded like.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly.
That's really cool though, because and like the bands there, they would, like a lot of times it was the younger kids that would be on the battlefields playing the music while battle's going on. Isn't that crazy? That blows me away.
Yeah.
They'd be out there drumming while people are being shot and killed.
What was that other legend of Gettysburg about Blue Boy?
Mm-hmm.
He was a drummer. He was a drum major for him, wasn't he?
Paul's asking to play it again. Can you please play it again, Randy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me bring it back up.
Everybody put your headphones on.
Yeah, and you might want to turn it up. I know it's a little bit, but like I said, at least you can hear it now, whereas it used to be I couldn't even get that. So let's see here. I'd already moved to another one. That's why I got to bring it back up. So
shame on you, Randy.
Hang on a minute. What?
I said shame on you.
Oh, shame on me. Okay.
Yes.
And see that little bit there at the end is one that got me as well, because I'm like, why did it get louder on that last one too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a cool. So did somebody hear that audible or was that an EVP?
No, that's a static camera that was out there, and they were recording. They left it. Judging from the looks of the pictures on it, or the video, is early morning time frame is when it was actually captured.
Wow.
There was nothing I could find. Of course, you saw that was a TikTok video at one point. There's nothing describing it other than, hey, this is a Gettysburg. That's it.
See, I agree with Paul. I kind of heard a little flute too. I didn't hear.
Yeah, you can hear the flute in there. You can hear that too, and the drums. You can hear them both.
Yeah. I hear birds. I didn't hear the flute per se.
And y'all got to remember, there's a reason they called them little drummer boys.
Exactly.
Because they were young kids that were out there in the battlefield playing the drum and the flute, out there during the battles. And it's just sad.
Absolutely.
Very sad. That was cool capture, Randy. Cool one.
There's another one of that same area. Now, we went through this one as well when we did the show on on
Is
what
this
you call
the
it,
video?
no, this isn't the video. I haven't even touched that. This is just sounds right now.
Oh my gosh. When we did that video, Randy and I did like
Yeah.
a whole show on it because
Yeah.
it was like,
That whole
wow.
next show. We were like caught off
Mhm.
guard the first time. And anyway, so here's this one though.
Way up in old Linville Mountain, where the bear and the kid.
That was a grasp right there on that one. Somebody stuck that at the end of the video, but y'all could hear early on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Mhm.
There's somebody out there hooting and hollering. Don't know.
Yeah.
Had a couple of people on the show actually said, "Hey, this is what this is." And well, according to everything that you saw right there was no reenactments going on at the time. It was
Right.
it was either too early in the day or too late in the day, the way they described it in their
It looks
video.
early, don't it?
It looks early to me too. But
Mhm.
the last bit of it before it cut to the grave marker, let me see if I can find where that's at. And you hear, it's kind of muffled. And then all of a sudden you hear that.
Yeah.
You hear that hollering in the distance, right?
You hear like a howl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's somebody in the distance hollering.
Well, to me, it almost sounds like possibly First Nations people. Whoop, 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 whoop,
Well, it could be, but
it could be just them communicating across the battlefield.
Yeah, battlefield hollers. Yeah.
Rebel yells.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hear that, you're just like, I can hear voices. It's just like any other,
Mm-hmm.
shall we say, EVP or disembodied voice. We hear it, but we don't know where the heck it's coming from.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because there's not just the hollers and yelling. There you can hear language in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're speaking of some sort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like somebody shouting orders and stuff is what it sounds like.
Well, Al says rebel yell.
Yep. Very well could have been.
Werewolf says sounds like troops yelling. Yep.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Mhm.
Just sounds like they're getting ready to charge.
Yeah.
Or are in the middle of it.
Yeah. See you later, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, those are cool. Keep them coming, Randy.
Okay. Well, why are you gonna do that to me? Uh
I like these.
well, I'm gonna show one here. I mean, this one, I'm not gonna get to our favorite one yet, Brandy. We're gonna hold off on that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But this is another video. This one was actually enhanced a little bit. A guy set up, man. This is one I said is out on YouTube, and I didn't want to use the YouTube video for it. But this came off of TikTok, and it was enhanced. In the original video, it's a lot further away, and you can literally sit there and look at the guy setting it up. The entire video, you see him setting up the camera, and you can see him. You can hear him leave the area,
Mm-hmm.
and then this stuff happens about a minute to 2 minutes after he's gone. But this one, while once again, as much as I hate it when people enhance stuff, I really don't like it per se. This one was relatively good. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
like I said, it's enhanced and zoomed in on where these figures are at.
Wow.
They're in a distance. Yeah, they're in a distance from where that camera actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you the video if you want to go look. All you got to do is search Gettysburg Ghost on YouTube, and you're going to see it. So,
Wow. And this is all different soldiers going through?
yeah, watch them as they go through. This is all different video the whole way
Okay, let's
through.
play it one more time.
Okay, and watch when it starts. That guy's walking across. I say that guy, that soldier. and then it looks like almost the same soldier, but started earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a little bit different and different phases. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think me and Brandy, we went over this like crazy. We were like, that is the epitome of a residual right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're moving through the brush, setting up for something. That's what it looks
exactly.
Yeah.
They're movement to a location or movement to contact type thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that was a really cool one, I thought. But now there's another one out there too with the Kling brothers. I know y'all know them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I've seen their video. I know what you're talking about there. They captured some good stuff.
That was amazing. And to know the way he had caught that and the way he dropped down for 1 minute to go move closer and look up and they're gone. And the video he caught, they're amazing. It's like they're 100% there. They're full. I could go out and smack them in the face if I wanted to. The banners, the flags, everything walking across there. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then he says they're gone. Wait, what? Where could they have gone?
Yeah.
He's like, they would have had to move 300 yards in a second to have disappeared out of his sight.
Right.
So I'm like, that right there alone was amazing. I'm trying to look
really
see what
cool.
else I got here too.
Yep.
Yeah, I got their video. See, their video's out on TikTok. I mean, I do have it, but I don't want to infringe on their stuff, obviously. So
yeah, it's a good video though. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, between that and now there's another one. This was from a while back. I got it on of a TikTok video as well, but this was from 2001 in Gettysburg. This one's made its rounds on several shows on TV, on different places or whatever, the most haunted places in America thing or whatever. And I'm going to bring this thing up and you'll hear the people talking in the background because this is one that there's a motorcycle rally going on in the area and they think they hear the motorcycles in the distance, but they don't equate to this. So
Okay. Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's another sparkle. You see what I'm
What's
saying?
that?
I saw it.
What is
yeah, you see what I'm talking about?
True.
See him
that's
shifted
the
to
horse,
him now?
right? Yeah.
You moved it.
What's that?
Right?
Isn't that the like people on
Right there.
horses?
No, they're walking up through the woods.
Look.
Yeah. Make your screen big, Tex.
Yeah, I do, but I mean, see the ones over on the right? They're higher.
Yeah. They're
than the
higher.
ones- yeah, so I'm thinking they're on horseback.
Not up in a
Now,
tree.
with what you saw right there, I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull it down so I can bring up the actual picture because there was somebody did an actual picture of it where
I'm sorry if we're missing chat because we had to blow the screen up. It takes chat away, folks. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look. I don't think I have that one on this particular bench. So let's see here. Here we go. This one right here. Now you got a little bit of help here, obviously, with a nice red circle. But I can zoom this up and you can see what it is this fragment you see over here, manifestation, residual, whatever you want to call it. There's their manifesting. There's another trail that goes up behind these woods right here, like a zigzag up through the trail type thing.
I got you.
That's what they're doing. It's like they're moving up that trail. So
Taking the
when I
high
bring
ground.
this back up. Exactly. When I bring this back up, we come back down here where he was at originally.
Oh, there's a motorcycle.
You see how they move through there? And look at the fireflies, too.
I don't see nothing down
They
there.
start right here,
Can't be the
and then they're going up
motorcycles, honey.
behind.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
There's another sparkle. You see what
And
I'm
see,
saying?
even right there, too.
Yeah.
You can see it going through that wood part of the woods, too.
True.
That's what I thought because they're higher, but they're zigzagging on the higher trail.
Yeah. going through that trail. Yeah.
And them ladies though, listen, like she's like, oh, like that's that's a legit
They're
response.
seeing them. So they're seeing it,
Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people who tried. That's why they were talking about the motorcycle rally, because they were thinking that lights from the motorcycles might have been causing it. But that trail right there doesn't face any roads, first of all, and the motorcycle rally was across the battlefield from them.
Right.
So now you talk about what could have caused those. I mean, if they'd have been lights with the camera that they're using right there in 2001, I realize it's not really a night vision camera per se, but it looks like it has some sort of low light filter of some sort. Even then, if it had been lights, you would think they would have been brighter than what they captured.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool.
So
I'd say that's legit.
I've had people say it. I mean, but sometimes you got to look at them and say, I don't know if it's really legit or not. That's our biggest issue, is we just don't know for sure.
Don't know for sure, but in my opinion, I would say that's legit. Like they captured something there for sure.
We couldn't find anything. 100%. Yeah, we couldn't find anything that would suggest that it was faked or anything like that. Because, this is the stuff that Randy and I do on Sundays at 5 p.m. Truth or tinfoil. Little plug. It's what we do is we go over all this stuff to see if we can see anything.
Right.
Yeah. So Truth or Tinfoil Sundays at 5 p.m. Central.
Be there, be square.
I knew I kept her around for something.
That's right. Right. I mean, but this is what we do. We look at this stuff, and Randy and I have been on for a year already on that channel.
My eyes
and we have been through tons of stuff. But, the one video coming up is, I think, Randy and I's all-time favorite.
Yes. And I'm starting it slow on this one. Well, it was favorite until the one we showed last week that we could talk about later on sometime. But as far as Battlefields, yes, this is still my favorite by a long shot.
Yeah.
We're still at Gettysburg.
Right.
Because
well, when it comes to Battlefields, yes.
Yeah.
Did you see what Al said?
What do you say? What we got?
He said, I'm going to say it was real because the two, he meant women, wouldn't shut up.
And that's one of those things we talked about before on our shows. Like, listen, we may be able to quote unquote debunk something, or we might be able to say, oh, that's a reflection, all that, but we can't say as to what the feeling was of the people that captured the actual images or captured the actual EVPs and such. That personal experience goes a long way to telling us whether or not something was quote unquote a great catch or not. You know what I mean? If somebody starts putting red circles all over the place, I tend to kind of blow you off a little bit.
Right.
But there's some kind of like this one. And I'm just going to show the picture. This is what started us in the first episode from Gettysburg.
That's an officer.
Yeah, and a cannon.
Yeah.
Two cannons.
Two cannons. Yep.
I will tell you this, the cannons are real.
Yes, they are. 100%.
Looks like it.
Cannons are real.
When we were first doing that show, I went out and looked for stuff and I found this. And then somebody in chat said, hey, there's a video out there that we're like, oh, really? Okay. And I went and found it and we looked at it right after the show. We're like, oh my God. We couldn't believe what we were watching. We really couldn't. It was that amazing. Because what you see right there, that doesn't even scratch the surface, honestly.
Yeah.
No.
That right there just whetted our appetite when we saw this, because we were looking at it like, okay, could this be this? Could this be that? We couldn't find anything really wrong with it, even in the picture here. But
that's cool.
But let me get to the actual
there's more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do the first TikTok version, that I got. And this one, it's a little bit scrunched per se, but it's got more of the actual audio of the people that were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear them getting ready to set up and getting ready to do their actual investigation and such. And this was about a 2-minute long video, so let y'all see this.
All right, we're here in Gettysburg, just before the 150th. Where should I stop?
Just pull off here.
I'll try to film something here.
Yeah.
They said there's activity here before, but all right, so we're gonna sit here for a while and just kind of film the camera.
A lot of troops left from here.
See what happens. I was told by a ranger. Was it about in this area here, Jay, that the ranger said that there's been some activities. They heard some rumors about seeing some sightings of something that they can't explain.
There's a lot of troops that left over here, so the activity should be strong.
All right, we'll record for like maybe half an hour or so, and then we'll move our doubles down maybe after that.
Yeah, that'll be a good spot next.
And then over by Pickett's Charge.
Yeah, maybe we can pick up something from there.
Pickett's hard though, because I can't really. Let's be flashlights. I guess I can shine it from the parking. All right, that's all right. We'll videotape here for a while.
Okay.
And let's be quiet though, okay? Holy crap! Down by the canyon, you see that?
Oh, what is that?
Wait, shit. Oh my God. Is it?
No way. What is that?
I have no friggin' idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
Did you? Honestly.
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
Now, honestly, think about that.
Sorry, Ray had to come and look at that one.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Trust me, I gotta do.
We're gonna blow it up.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the blow it up. I just want you to see the whole situation with those guys. You could tell they were prepped for a night-long actual ghost hunt. They were out there to do it, and they were going to do it right. I'm glad they sat there like they did. I really am, because if they hadn't, we wouldn't be talking about this day, obviously.
Yeah, that was cool.
So, I mean, let's say, let me get the good one here. Now, I'm going to mute this one because it's the same stuff, but it's not in line with what you actually just heard. So, so I'm going to mute these so you don't have to hear them say it all again.
Okay.
All right, here you go.
All right, we're here in Gettysburg, just before the 150th.
Wow.
And look how far back it started out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then as it walks in front of the cannon, it's just gone.
Yeah.
So are those cannons like permanent fixtures there, or are they somebody's artillery?
Yes, they're part of the display. They're part of the display.
Wow.
Yeah, play that over again.
Really, really cool.
All right, so I'm gonna bring back about right there so you can see where it starts up, kind of back over here in this area.
Yeah.
There it is. It just started right there. And he's walking toward them. He's walking toward the cannons.
Yeah.
It's almost like he came out of a tent or a wood line or something and started heading that way.
Like he's checking the cannons.
I wonder what's behind that area.
Well, these cannons weren't originally there to start with, so they have been moved to that spot from what I remember reading on it. I think it's just if I remember right, it's just a wood line right there. It's just a wood line back up over there because these
I
cannons
think
aren't even,
it is. It is now. Yeah.
yeah, because I don't think these cannons are even facing the actual battlefield. So
Yeah. Wow.
They're just
So
laying the road for
would you say that these are more or less haunted objects because it's coming to the cannons, or is it just something residual that's just drawn to it because it is a cannon?
I think it could go either
what do
way.
you think?
In my opinion, I think it could go either way. It could be, obviously the ground is tainted, so that could be a trigger object, and yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines of that they were, the objects themselves, those cannons are what this apparition is associated with.
Well, yeah, because if it's not, if it's attached to the cannon, I can see it being residual. If it's not attached to the cannon, that looks intelligent.
Yeah, and it's being triggered by the cannon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's really
I don't think we ever figured out which way we wanted to go with it, did we?
No, we didn't, because I seriously don't know. I mean, all we know is that the cannons weren't there. I mean, they weren't left there; they were moved there. It could go either way. It could it could be a trigger object or a haunted object. You just take your pick.
Play it over again, Randy.
I got to go on right now because there's one thing I want to point out when he comes up there, because we had thought we saw it in the picture part. But I don't know if you can see it as well in this blown up video.
Well, I've got an argument for it being residual.
Okay. I'll pause it right there.
Okay. The reason I'm thinking it's residual is because he walks in front of the cannon.
Yeah, most cannoneers would never do that.
No, they would never walk in front of the cannon. You're never going to see that. Okay. They're going to walk beside the cannon. They're going to ride the cannon. They're never going to stand in front of it.
Yeah. Okay? And especially in that situation, I don't know.
He may be attached to that first cannon on the left.
Yeah.
That's what he's checking, but he walks in front of the second one. Because what are the odds that they're going to have two cannons that this thing's attached to, and they put them together? Okay. I'm just saying, and what are the odds they're going to put something there and it's going to walk around these cannons like it should
and we don't know, like I said, the way I understood it, that these cannons were part of the battle, but I don't know for sure if they really are or if they're replicas. I really don't know. Because most of the time, like even in the Texas, in San Antonio at the Alamo, the cannons there are the cannons that were there,
right?
But they are solidified. You know what I mean? They're on set stands. They're not on the wheels and such anymore like these caissons are.
Right.
The other thing I looked at is when we were looking at it the first time, this part right here. See that white bit? Mm-hmm. Brandy, do you remember if we thought that might have been possibly a saber of some sort that he was carrying?
Yeah, but we couldn't tell. We just couldn't tell. It looked more like it in the still photo. But in this video, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Because when I first saw the picture,
I
thought it was an officer's hat he was wearing.
Yeah, and you saw that little bit of red too that made it look like a sash was there.
But if it's not an officer, that could be a cannon swab.
Yes, very well could be.
Well, and too, back in the Civil War, there were several people that it took to shoot one cannon.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah, 3 people minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very cool. Really cool. Hey, BMR.
I'm backing that out.
Hey, you guys, what's happening? Great show.
Yeah, I like this stuff. I like history and ghosts, man. My favorite thing.
I love it. I was in and out listening, and I think that's real. I mean, Brandy mentioned about the moving about of the cannons and things, but it's a cool piece of footage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give it the thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing.
Would.
Yeah.
All those I would.
Yeah, it just we can't figure out if the cannon is not a replica, is it haunted? Or if it is a replica or not, is it just a trigger item that brought forth this ghost? Because they were not originally there, they were put there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I brought up the picture on the side here. I'm just looking at it, and the red bit we're seeing is not really a sash. It's just a glitch in the actual enhancement. It looks like, but once again, that bit we think may be a swab. I can't tell either. It's still even in that photo, you can't tell. So
yeah, no, that's really cool. Good ones that you showed tonight, Randy.
dang it,
That's our favorite one.
Yeah.
Brandy made me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So Rob,
all of those are pretty amazing. I mean,
yeah. Well, I know Rob's got a spooky Civil War story for
Well,
us.
I kind of do. I didn't really want to come on only because you guys are doing such a fantastic job tonight. You know me, I'm bashful, a little on the shy side, and
Okay.
I did not know
Hang on,
that
I
I
have to
wanted
go in the bathroom now.
to tell this story. You know,
glad I'm wearing my boots.
Yeah.
oh, Tex, you know,
Right.
I must say, Brandy was mentioning earlier about was it the Truth or Tinfoil? It's been on almost 40 weeks now.
We've been on a year. We've been on a year this week.
You know, and it's amazing how time flies because this story I got from some dude named Jake. I remember when we first started the Late Show, it was me and myself, Chris, and Brandy, and then Tex when he had his schedule. Then we brought Monica on board. And do you know that this Saturday is going to be our 39th episode already? And I can't.
Wow.
39 weeks, you guys. We're getting close to a year on the Late Show.
And you know, I remember like you texted me, it was late one night. You're like, hey, do you feel like going live tonight? Like late. I'm like, I'm awake. Why not? Let's do it.
And then I did one late early morning with Brandy on my wicked dream at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah, it was that was like we went from like 3 to 5 in the morning on that.
Yeah, you know, and both of the shows were actually, I couldn't believe that we got a nice response. So I was fumbling with doing a late show, and then we started it, and then it was us two, and then Tex, you know, with his work schedule was on for a bit. Then his work schedule got discombobulated yet again. Then so he was off for a while. Now he's back on because of his schedule now. And of course, then Monica joined us, and I think I might have did this. This might have been one of the first or second stories I did. So I'm thinking Chris and Brandy might have heard this, and possibly Tex. But it's really cool, and it's 38 weeks when I last did it. And so Chris says, yeah, you want to talk? And it does have Civil War implications to it, right? So I said, well, what the heck, I'll come on toward the end of the show and kind of go over this and tell it. Because it's not a ghost story. It could be a ghost story, but it also could be more of a Dogman type story.
So this ghost story does actually have a story to it eventually, right?
I don't know what you just said, Tex. Yes, this is a story from some dude named Jake. I don't know what it is. That's why
it was like 39 weeks ago when you did it last week.
It was 39 weeks ago when I did this, so it should be fresh for most people.
Why do I not remember this? So keep going.
Well, right away, Krista and Brandy are right away going to remember it. I know you are because you thought it was cool. I don't remember.
Remember, you don't tell it.
Tex probably wasn't there. You know, Tex, you know, you're the one that draws out everything for 75 minutes before you get to your point. I'm painting a picture for everybody. So I'm going to get on with it. I am going to get on with this. This guy goes on. His name's Jake, as I might have already mentioned. He says that he was raised by his grandfather in the late 1960s through the end of the 1970s. He says he was about 15 years old when his mother and father were killed in an automobile accident. Okay. And then this young man at the time says his world was quite frankly turned upside down. As a 15-year-old, he now had to move in with his grandpa, who lived alone with his wife, being his grandmother, who passed away shortly after this young Jake moved in. So this guy's got a very traumatic life already. Mom and dad passed away in an accident, and then the grandmother passes away shortly thereafter. And he says it made it more difficult for him because with this situation, he never really saw his grandfather growing up as a child. As he, Jake, the guy telling me the story, lived in today what you would call Mineral Wells, West Virginia. Prior to that, though, he had lived in St. Louis, Missouri. And this lifestyle that his grandfather led was unlike what he was familiar with. Okay, so he says it was almost like living with a stranger with his grandfather. And where he lived, he says, Rob, man, it was very abysmal, crude land, unfamiliar, almost like dystopian, right? It was just nothing there. And I don't know, I didn't do any research on the background of Mineral Wells, West Virginia, but I think that was a mining town, I think. I'm not sure. So he says the home that he lived in with Grandpa was about 50. It was a nice parcel of land, you guys. It had about 50 acres nestled in the woods. There were no neighbors. There were no kids for him to play with. The school was about several miles away, which young Jake says he never attended. It was unfortunate because, as he goes on to say, his grandfather was an alcoholic. He never got into school on time. Often never, for that matter, as he goes on to say. And actually, he wondered how his grandfather even had money to buy anything. The one time that the grandfather provided him clothes, it was always used clothes that he found somewhere. Nothing new, ragged hand-me-downs, wherever the grandfather could clothe the kid. Because he said he was a young kid, he was growing in spurts. Excuse me, you guys, and the clothes that the grandpa provided him, he was just embarrassed to go to school. So this kid is not being very, very social. He's mostly embarrassed at his lifestyle, right? He goes on to say that the majority of the food that he ate, his grandfather hunted for. And he always told his grandson, "Hey, Jake, man, I don't have much, but I will show you one thing. I'll teach you how to live off of the land." Jake goes on to say that the home they lived in was falling apart. At least by today's standards, you would deem it as being dilapidated. He goes on to say the other thing that Grandpa taught him was that of carpentry and how to fix things around the house, kind of like being a little mini handyman. He says that the house was huge. It was very haunting looking. He says it reminded him of that of, like, believe it or not, of a home that a witch or sorcerer would live in from the early childhood stories that his parents read to him at bedtime. He goes on to say his favorite stories was that of Hansel and Gretel. He joked to himself that he lived in the infamous house where the wicked witch resided and baked small children in her oven. So this guy, I kind of feeling bad for this kid, right? But just all these things, weird thoughts going through his head. So he goes on to say his early youth growing up was a nightmare. He always said the thing that always bothered him, though, was that despite the shoddy construction of this house, every door and window was secured with very heavy iron bars. He actually went on to say that he betted that the money invested in the ironclad bars on his home was worth more than the entire dwelling he resided in. He always thought to himself, why the bars? Why the bars? He always thought this. He goes on to say that it was almost as if the grandfather was trying to keep someone or something out. He goes on to say another peculiar or disturbing occurrence was almost weekly when the grandfather was not at home, probably at the bar, doing whatever he was doing. A very tall man would walk across the property, and he would stop in front of the home and stare. This person would stare into the home. He goes on to say this man had long black hair, unkempt hair, but he was very tall and robustly built. He always looked dirty, and he always had this unusually long gray coat. Then he goes on to say that the coat were from the top of his shoulders down to the tops of his ankles. He says that this coat reminded him of the style, guys wore back by the Confederate soldiers in the Civil War. So he says the only difference on this coat, he noticed a lot of long swatches of brownish leather were strewn about the coat. Whatever significance that is, I don't know. He's just telling me the story. He also says that the leather coat also had appeared to have some emblems or whatever strewn into it. So anyways, well, this dude is walking past the house, very creepy. He can see this guy. He sees him, and he's very disturbing. He said that this went on and on for about a year while grandfather was away getting drunk, and this young kid was sitting at home. Again, not going to school, no friends, no social life. He's just by himself. He says he turns 16 years old. Then when he turns 16 years old, he decides, it's time to talk to my grandpa about all the things that troubled him. He wondered about why the bars on the house. So one day he asked his grandfather about the bars, and the grandfather replied, for protection. So young Jake, he replies back to his grandfather, protection for what? Protection from who, right? Are you talking about the creepy man in the long gray coat that passes by the house every time you're gone? At this point, the grandfather's face turns red. He became nervous. He replies back, tells his young grandson, well, he's 16 years old now. The grandfather tells his grandson, Jake, you've seen evil. He goes on to say he's taken aback by all this. Then all of a sudden he notices a change in grandpa's temperament. He told Jake to wait in the kitchen or wherever, and just wait for him. So grandfather quickly races upstairs. He goes somewhere upstairs, and he comes back. He comes back with whatever he comes back with to present this to his grandson. Grandpa also comes back with a rifle. If I recall, a rather large silver box. He places all these items on the kitchen table: a rifle, a silver box. Then grandfather clumsily went to the kitchen cabinet. He fumbled about for a few seconds before he finds a set of keys. Produces a set of keys, right? So his grandson's watching him. What's grandpa up to? What's going on? He's getting kind of nervous. He took the key and he opened a large silver box. And inside the box, the grandfather pulled out old newspaper clippings regarding the Civil War and a handful of bullets. Very dilapidated, old shredded papers. They're very tough to even decipher or read. The kid goes on to say that the bullets were not made of your typical lead or copper, which I guess they used in the Civil War, but they were made of silver. Again, the clippings from the newspaper articles were very faded, and it was hard to even see what the dates were. However, what was interesting is certain scribes in the paper were all circled in pencil. So the grandfather back in the day took a pencil and circled certain clippings in the paper. And the clippings, as this young Jake is reading on, were about clippings of werewolves and dog-like creatures killing Union soldiers during the Civil War. He goes on to say, Rob, man, this article it chills me to the bone, man. It was described as a very powerful man clad in a long Confederate coat embellished in leather, much like I told you guys a little bit earlier. Now, this kid is like fearing for his life, thinking how can this be? I see this guy every day for the last year walking past the house while grandfather's off getting drunk. And there was a picture stenciled in the clippings. The picture, you guys, was that of the very same man that's been walking past the home, grandfather's home, over the last year when he's gone. So I guess the grandfather notices the look on his grandson Jake's face, and he asks his grandson, "Is this the man you've been seeing?" I told him, "Yes, grandfather, it was." He went on to tell his grandson how this property had once been a battlefield during the Civil War, and many lives were lost. But it was not lost by the hands of man, but by the hands of the beast. Grandfather went on and on to tell me, the grandkid Jake, that the man I have been seeing is not a man, but the leader of a killer wolf pack back in the Civil War. He went on to tell his grandson that this beast had not been on the property for over 20 years until now, with the arrival of the grandson to the home. He goes on to say, "You see, Jake, that he shot and killed that man over 20 years ago. However, when he shot and killed it, it was no man. It had the shape and the form of a wolf." He went on to tell the grandson that he buried the wolf-like creature, whatever you want to call it, in the back of the house at the tree line. Grandfather swore up and down that he used a silver bullet to kill the man-beast, the werewolf, the dog man, whatever. Certainly, I guess it was physical from what I'm gathering, right? Then he grabs him by the hand, and they go off, and they go to the burial site. They get to the burial site. They reach the site. Grandfather fell to his knees, and he starts to cry. Because now what he's looking at is an overturned grave. Dirt is strewn all about in front of them. The old coffin-like box that allegedly he put this creature in was all shattered. He goes on to say that it appeared as something or someone dug themselves out of the box in the grave. So from that, now everybody, this kind of was a life-changing experience, because your grandfather, despite being a drunk and not caring apparently for his grandson, takes a turn, right? Now all of a sudden, grandpa stops drinking. He stays home. He just stays home with his grandkid, fearing for the life of his grandchild. He would sit out every night on the porch with a rifle in hand, loaded with 1 silver bullet. He goes on to tell me that 6 months goes by, and the man beast, the wolf creature, it never returns. Then, one night, a week or so later, while young Jake was asleep, he hears the sound of a rifle go off. Young Jake gets up. He races down to the porch, and there stood his grandfather, rifle in his hand, and he tells his grandson, "I shot the evil." Jake goes on to say that the body of the evil, whatever grandfather shot, they never found it. They searched, no blood, no nothing, never found this creature. 1 year later, after allegedly shooting whatever this was, the grandfather passed away. Young Jake says he continued to live off of the land as his grandfather taught him how for about 8 years. He finally made it to the city, and through the grace of God, he lands a job as a laborer. He says he was fortunate enough to find love, and he got married. He goes on to say in the email that he never will forget Grandpa and say that evil takes many shapes and forms. And he says he can bear witness to that. So, yeah, that's the story. That's the story.
Wow.
You guys didn't hear that before?
Never heard it before.
Nope.
Oh yeah, I heard it.
It's been the night that you and Brandy did the show, because that one didn't ring a bell to me at all. That was a cool one though.
I think it is pretty cool. I mean,
so why do you think
TV
that? Probably here, door shut. Okay. Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, why do you think that it came back after all those years? You think it came back for the grandson?
I think the grandfather thought that. I mean, I never really think about this as I'm reading this, when I got this sent to me like last year, whenever it was. I didn't really understand why. I didn't understand if the grandfather, I think, suspected it was after the grandchild, perhaps because the grandfather shot this. First of all, this man all of a sudden is walking past the house for over a year while the grandfather's gone. And I'm thinking the grandfather shot it way back during the Civil War, but as a form of a wolf, as allegedly, of course, the grandfather says. And I think that he wanted to take something from the grandfather, and I think that was probably the grandson. That's why the grandfather really took immediate notice of this and quit drinking and stayed home to protect his son. That's what I get out of it. Now, that's speculation, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. What a story.
Yeah. To me, it kind of sounds like it was like a warning or an omen of some sort.
Yeah.
Basically wake up, take care of what you need to take care of, or I'll be here. I will take what's yours if if you're not watching and taking care of yours.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it seems like to me.
Yeah. No, I would agree. That's quite a story. That would make a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of would. It's crazy. I do get a lot of cool encounters from people. It's like, then you got to call them. Hey, man, I want to make this a story. We know so many documentarians and filmmakers now, you guys.
We do.
They can spin a great movie,
Yeah.
I just want to pay I just want to pay these people. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, that was a great.
Hey, Randy, what do you think about that, man? What's your thoughts? You're a paranormal type guy.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of with Brandy on it. It sounds like an omen more than anything else. Like that I don't want to say person, like he was referring to him as a person. I want to say that creature, which became quite frankly, if he shot him, it became an entity after that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That he was looking for an opportunity when he came back. That's what it was. And then he was egged on by the grandson being there. That's fresh, I don't want to say fresh meat like thing, but it's fresh power, that's come into the area. Fresh, a different energy that it could feed off of.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Great encounter for sure.
And of course, we have to ask Tex his thoughts, because we know Tex has got. I see his behind those glasses.
He's thinking.
He's thinking.
You mean sleeping?
I don't think he went to sleep on that story.
I don't think we're talking dog man here.
No.
I think if anything,
I don't think so either, but I just presented it how it's presented to me.
Well,
so.
yeah, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch to go possibly werewolf, family curse type.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Somebody in chat even said maybe it was the grandfather. Who knows, when he was off on his drinking binges.
Yeah.
It was a good point they made.
True thought.
Hey, maybe he never even shot
Maybe
this
the-
alleged creature back in the Civil War. Maybe it was just him on a stupor.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you know,
maybe
Yeah. Who knows?
maybe he realized that, because sometimes you hear about these things taking place. Maybe his grandfather thought he was blackout drunk, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was transforming.
Could
Okay.
be.
And when he realized what was going on, the single silver bullet was for him.
ooh,
Good point.
I
I'm
like
telling you,
that.
we should make a movie of this. It would be a great movie.
I know, because you could twist this story any which way you
There's so
want
many
it.
ways.
you really could, yeah.
hmm
Sure
Well,
can.
I'll ask the guy, you know, if I can, copyright it.
You're funny, Kimber.
No, it's actually it is really a great story. It really is. I enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
it is.
I'm glad I could provide something to your guys' show because you guys are doing such a fabulous job until I arrive.
Yeah, we are. And we were. We still are.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, you still are. I love all you guys.
Well, we love you too, Rob.
I ain't saying that. I don't know about y'all. I ain't doing that crap.
Randy, you know, I got to mention something before I forget. You know, we backed up the late night show from midnight to 11 to appease the audience and frankly to appease us because it's just a late show. It's just called the late show, but it starts at 11. But the only thing, you know what, you guys, it's going to be Krista, Brandy, and Tex at 11 because the playoff schedule came out last week, and I did not realize that my Detroit Lions play Saturday at 8. The game is over at 11, which is our new starting time. So I'll be late. And I'm going to
That's
tell
fine.
you
We
right
got
now,
you.
and
We
I'm going
got
to
you,
tell you
Bob.
when I join the show, I'm either going to be elated or really ticked off.
Right.
If you're really
I'm rooting
ticked off,
for
I don't even want you on the show.
If I'm really ticked off, I might let you guys run with it. But then if I'm really happy because they won, I might be a little too happy if you get my
Well,
get my drift.
I'm thinking you're not going to be in any shape to do a show no matter what happens.
I will be
Yeah,
there.
it sound like it.
I will probably show up because
Probably show. I'll probably show up to my
Probably.
own show.
Probably show up to his own show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. And,
Well,
and
you know, that's
for
what we
everybody
do.
out there, that is wondering, it is 11 in the East, 10
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah.
We're moving the time of late
night
night with BMR
Yep.
into the bazaar.
So literally, you will
Yes.
have Paranormal Paul coming on at 7 Central, Donny Cho at 8:30 Central, and then 10 p.m. BMR. That's Central
Yep.
time.
Central
What night?
time,
What
yeah.
night is that?
Tomorrow.
Oh, Saturday night, brother.
Yeah.
For
I'll be taking a
38
bath.
for 39 weeks, you guys. Amazing.
Yeah.
Just like Truth or Tinfoil. I can't believe that's been a year.
Well, actually, technically speaking, your pilot episode on it, I went back and looked because you said 39 episodes. And I was like, wait a second, doesn't seem like that much. But I went back and looked, and your first pilot episode for quote unquote late night was actually on December 23rd, 2023.
Oh,
Wow.
And you literally took a month off before you did another one.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
that's when we were talking about doing it monthly. Remember when
Yeah,
we said, "Oh
yeah,
yeah, we'll do it once a
yeah.
month,
Yeah.
once
okay.
a month." That's what we said.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was really sporadic. It wasn't scheduled.
Yeah. Yeah. There was
No,
no
it
schedule.
would just be like out of the blue. Like you might hear
Yeah.
from Rob about 1:00 in the afternoon. Hey, what do you think about a late night
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Right
have
about-
nothing better to do than sleep.
Yeah.
Right about
Right.
mid-March is when the weekly really started kicking off. So
Yeah.
Wait
It's,
a minute.
Right.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Tex wasn't the only one doing spur of the moment shows that y'all bitch about so much?
Well, not four
no,
in a
you just
day.
do it now.
no, Tex, they were sporadic. Like they were spread for like a month, perhaps, because I know
Not every night you get a text.
I
"Hey,
had
man,
to-
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. Not every
Well, like-
afternoon while I'm at work.
like
Right.
Randy says, they were pilot shows, and if they weren't doing any good, I wasn't going to do them. But
Mhm.
guess what? It caught on with the people, and we just started to do it full fledged. So,
Yep. Yep.
Now, Tex, with the 75 shows you're doing per week, one of those has probably got to be scheduled because they ain't all hits.
Monday night.
I'm kidding, Tex. I'm kidding, Tex.
You guys
I'm
are
not.
Mondays and Wednesdays are really the only two scheduled shows that I have.
Yeah, well, talk about sporadic.
Yeah, because I'm the one that has to pay attention when it gets done and I got to go download that and put it out the next day. Now I got to go download that and put it out the next day.
Well, Randy, that was such a great group text because you're like, damn it, Tex, we're running out of memory on StreamYard.
I had to go on there weekly now and delete everything out from the week prior.
Right.
I'm like, we used to be able to go a month without deleting, and now all of a sudden I got to delete every week.
Oh, and speaking of sporadic for everybody in chat, I did a sporadic show today, by the way.
Yeah, they are
about Dogmen and Werewolves at the Cemetery. I've done 4 of those, and people dig them. So I'm going to have to schedule that as a regular scheduled show, which is going to bring me to 4 scheduled shows.
Wow.
Plus, when I go on the Blondes and Tex and everybody else that I admire.
He's only been on mine once. He's only been on mine once.
All you have to do is ask me, Rando.
Hey,
I've been on Truth or Tinfoil. I know I've been on the other one.
You've been on once. That's what I said. You've been on mine once.
Well, give me a holler.
One time in a year.
You guys haven't given a holler to me. I invite people. I don't just show up like somebody else.
You underestimate me. Look at me. Can't you tell I don't like people?
I know you don't like people.
Well,
that's
anyway.
why you're a tech wizard. You're a tech wizard.
Anyway.
Get it right.
Yeah.
Well,
which reminds me, Rando, I got to redo my entire internet.
Oh boy.
Because the guy I'm
my
using,
goodness.
the people I'm using, I finally got it running, and they're canceling. They're out of business. So right now, my option is YouTube TV. I'm not looking forward to redoing this. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it freaking pours.
Well, anyway, so the gist of the story is tomorrow night, starting at 7 p.m. Central, running all the way through midnight or 1 a.m., depending on how long we go, your entertainment is here. Just remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And make sure you know the times because sometimes we don't.
Yes.
Just
turn on the alert bell, the notification as Brandy just laid out, because especially with texts, you never know.
Hey, Rob, when's your birthday?
127, baby.
We're getting there. We're
getting there.
And
my mom's is the 20th. I'm the 20th, and Monica celebrated hers already, but she's down in Rawlins partying up right now.
Rawlins.
I told her, I said, be sure you have 1 or 10 drinks for me. So
right,
1 or 10, 1 or 10.
Monica likes to throw them down. She does. I can tell.
No.
Once a year she does that. Once a year.
Sure.
Because it takes the rest of the year to recover from the hangover.
Yeah, as you get older, the hangovers get longer. I'm just saying.
That's why I became a day drinker.
Lord have mercy.
You guys.
Okay. All right, everybody.
Very good.
With that being said, thank you so much for everybody for tuning in this evening.
Go Lions, baby. 8:00.
Hey,
watch it.
Hey, wait a second. Hold up. Wait a second. Just so everybody knows this. Once I find it again, I lost it. Hey, there we go. Thank you for the love, Mickey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you.
I got in trouble. I got in trouble last night because Donny Cho was listed next to last on the host bill.
Do what?
For the conference, he's next to, we got all our names on there as, hosted by.
I didn't make them posters. Jason did.
Well, it's buddy Jason.
Hey, how do you think I felt? I'm the one that.
No,
Donnie
but that's okay. Just say, Donnie, at least you're above Jason. It's all good from there. It's all good from there.
I'm mad that I'm number 5.
See, Donnie's like, well, Jason doesn't even have a show. That's like being last.
I'll give Donnie that. That is a good point. for young Mr. Cho.
Look at Donnie and say, well, you all look the same anyway. So there you go.
God.
Little Patty, Chiefs, Lions. This is my prediction. I know. Little Patty, Chiefs, Lions, baby.
Yep,
No.
3 feet. I agree. Third time
No.
again. Chiefs.
No.
The Houston Oilers aren't going to make it.
What the heck? Who told you that?
Tex?
It's going to be
Tex.
Lions and Texans. Lions and Texans.
Well, here's the cool thing. We have a 50-50 chance. The Lions might not even make the Super Bowl, of course, but it's either going to be me versus my girly friends or me versus my dude friends. It's either be Missouri or Texas in the Super Bowl, and hopefully the Detroit Lions.
I would not count out Buffalo if I was you.
I will say this.
Buffalo's badass. I do not want to play Buffalo. I think we can beat KC, not Buffalo.
I will say this: if I have to choose between rooting for the Chiefs and rooting for the Lions, I'm going to root for the Lions.
Oh yeah,
thank you, Tex.
The Lions deserve it. I'll give you that, Rob. They do. They
I just don't want to see the Chiefs three-peat. That's all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too.
But I will say this. I will say this not because of the girls from Missouri here. I kind of do like the Chiefs. I always did like the Chiefs, even well before they got good. I've always been a Cowboy fan. I think the Lions are going to be the new America's team, though. I think that.
Do you know when the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, the last few times they've been in, like literally all of Kansas City turns red, like the big skyline buildings and like the whole downtown.
Unfortunately,
actually.
Talking about turning red, unfortunately.
So does Detroit, but for a whole nother reason.
Well, Tex, and unfortunately for the great state of Missouri, their parade turned red, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did, actually.
That parade, that sucked. That just put it
We can't have nothing nice.
That put a damper on the celebration, turned into a damper.
Yeah, it did. Yep. Sure did.
Now, of course, I live in the murder capital of the world. Who knows what our parade's going to be all about if we win?
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be red for a whole new reason.
Yep. Like Mickey said, the water fountains as well turn red. She's right. I mean, literally, like all of Kansas City turns red, and not by blood because it's Kansas City.
They should put red dye in it just to kind of swipe the violence aside.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They did that at the Fort Worth Water Gardens one year.
Oh, really?
For St. Patrick's Day, somebody dumped a bunch of green dye in it. It wasn't sanctioned, by the way.
That's funny.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it was.
Too funny. Well, I would say we've gone over our time, and so I got a notification too that Paranormal Roundtable is on tonight with, it looks like Sir Brian Bowden. So
nice.
That'd be good too. So
go ahead and check them out. Check them out. They're on right now. I'm looking at it right now. They're on.
Yep. So anyway, guys, we will see everybody tomorrow night on the shows, on Paul's, Donnie's, and BMR show. And next Thursday, Brandy and I have Chris Kramer. He's our guest next Thursday.
Right.
That'll be fun. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you guys for hopping on with us. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
See you.
Thanks,
bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Tex, how do I hit the?
Okay.
Hang
on.
Hit the button.
It's not doing it.
I got you.
Hang on.
Hit the extra.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.